Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to VidaneTV. Little Tuesday night racing action here for the WingNut Productions late model stocks here at here at Myrtle Beach. Easy enough for me to say, trying to read. And, Good evening, everybody, and welcome back things, and to we'll VidaneTV. All the feedback taken care of. Then you get to listen to the intro twice. That's how we do it here in live TV. Welcome, welcome. 150 laps on the docket here in the big show this evening. You can already see we've got heat race number 1 lined up, ready to rock and roll here at Myrtle Beach. 150 laps on the docket. Going to have 11 cars out there for heat race number 1, being led by Tant Woldridge and Richard Drake on the front row. Chris McKenna, Scott Negus in row number 2. Brianna Weigel, Martin Landry in behind them. Jake Goodwin, Colin Boudreau, Devin Smith, Travis Turple, and Ashton Reekie rounding out the 11 drivers here, taking the top 3 into the feature here this evening, and new colors for the 26 car. We'll take a look at that after we see the green flag, and there you see it. Woldridge going to take away by a couple of car lengths. Battle now side by side for second. Richard Drake, Chris McKenna going to do a little bit of battle. Richard Drake up on the high side of the racetrack. 35 car down on the bottom. That's going to be Chris McKenna trying to hold on to that position. Brianna Weigel in the 11 car right in behind, one spot out of the transfer spot as we come around to complete lap numero uno and give it to Tant Woldridge. Very, very quick in that 56 car. Had a little bit of trouble last night in the RBR Maritime Super Late Model Series, but having himself a good evening so far here in practice and here in these heat races. Still side by side, a little bit of contact between those two drivers, battling it out for that second position, giving Brianna Weigel an opportunity to close up onto the back bumper of the 35 car. Scott Negus in the 39. Big wiggle and slide and spin for the 55 car. He is down and around. Jake Goodwin in the 24 DuPont rod going to get down and around. Green flag stays out. Talking to Tim Terry before the show here, we made mention that in the driver's meeting, we're not going to be throwing cautions here for single car spins. Only big incidences throughout the field. A little bit of a connection issue, it looks like, for Colin Boudreau. Still going to work things out as he chases down the number 94 of Devin Smith. Everybody holding on to a little single file action so far here. Martin Landry in the 20 car rounding out the 8th position. Travis Turple on the move in the 16 car, moving up towards the front of the field. There's the 26 car of our buddy Ashton Reekie, as believe Landry having some issues there, but that's the Flaggers Only car. FlaggersOnly.com, number 26 of Ashton Reekie. New colors here tonight, and we hear tell we gave Barney and the flag stand the night off because we're mad at iRacing for getting rid of the members site, the old members site. So we've got Bubbles in the flag stand, and it's Bubbles Bronson's birthday. Happy birthday, Bubbles, up there waving the flag here for us in the iRacing world. And there you see him, going to give him the 4 horsemen signal. 4 laps to go for Tant Woldridge. He's checked out. He's got about a 9/10 of a second lead now over Richard Drake. McKenna there in third. Weigel and Goodwin the top 5 as they run. Coming out of turn number 4, we've made mention that a lot of these drivers got some practice in the nighttime session that we had earlier this afternoon. Crazy how that works out with how it's worded, but as we get a little bit later on into this event, you'll notice the sun starts to set. It's going to get dark around this racetrack, and that is in fact going to change the racing, change how these cars handle, change how these drivers attack the racetrack. So that's going to be something to definitely keep in mind here as we get popsicle sticks. 2 laps to go for Tant Woldridge, and you can see that lead is shrunk just a little bit, but not a whole heck of a lot. 8/10 of a second now, the gap between Woldridge and Drake. McKenna still holding on to that transfer spot with a little bit of breathing room there. You can see the gap on back to Brianna Weigel there in 4th in that number 11 car. But white flag, white rag flies from Bubbles up in the flag stand. Woldridge going to essentially just kind of drive off into the setting sun here into 3 and 4, hit his marks as he gets almost a full second lead over Richard Drake, crossing the stripe, taking that checkered flag. Tant Woldridge going to win the first heat race of the evening of 4 heat races. 4 heat races here tonight, taking the top 3 finishes of each. Then we're going to have ourselves 2 last chance qualifiers, 2 consolation races, as it were. Going to be taking the top 6 in there, and we're going to be getting ourselves a 21 car feature here tonight for 150 laps at the virtual Myrtle Beach. Got to thank everybody for tuning in here tonight. We are live all over the internet, as we like to do. We are live on the VidaneTV YouTube page. We're live on Facebook for both VidaneTV as well as Tim's Corner Motorsports. We're live over on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/strictly94. Be sure to get all those follows and subscribes and likes and all that good stuff in. Let your friends and family know that you're watching a little entertaining iRacing action here on a Tuesday night. Be sure to hit that follow button over on Twitch as well. Got a lot of Grand Theft Auto stuff going on here this evening. We might jump in the truck and do a little trucking in Los Santos. Project Rogue RP, shout out to those guys, and shout out to everybody tuned in at the Outdoor Traveler. I'll be at work soon. We'll figure it out here. We got a little bit of time before we get to the end of this one. But there you see, we're lined up for heat race number 2 down on pit road. They're going to follow the pace car out of there. Brett Suggs, strong showing last night with a podium finish at the where did they race last night? I don't even remember. We've got so much action going on here at VidaneTV. It's hard to keep up with all the different tracks that we've been at. But Josh Langell, Brett Suggs going to kick things off here for us in row number 1. Keith Lord, Craig Kenny in row 2. Justin Cormier, Richard Beasley making his return to the TCM late model series here. Dave Cassidy, Dave Horton, Danny Vitch, Craig Tully, and Brady Cox. Tully finishing 4th last night in a late model stock race. And showing he knows a thing or two about these short tracks. Heat race 2 lined up, 10 laps on the board, going to put them up and knock them down. Langell and Suggs going to kick things off for us here on the front row. And you can see Suggs in that 33 car has elected to take the bottom side of the racetrack for this start. Pace car dipping on down to the safety of pit road for the time being. Going to turn these drivers loose for 10 laps and find out which one of the 3 are going to make the big show and which ones are going to be going in to that last chance qualifier here later on this evening. Little bit of a breakaway from the front 2 drivers, Suggs and Langell. You can see Langell closing that gap back up side by side for 3rd. Cormier sends it, gets up into the side of Keith Lord, lets him know he's there and takes that transfer spot away. Right now, 1, 2, 3, Suggs, Langell, Cormier. Keith Lord on the outside looking in, side by side in behind him with Kenny and Beasley in 5th and 6th. Cassidy right there in 7th as well. And that side by side battle is in fact heating up. You can see the good wrench car up on the high side. That's going to be Craig Kenny in the 90. Richard Beasley down on the bottom side, making his return to the TCM WingNut Production Late Model Stock Series here at Myrtle Beach. Get it all sorted out back up front, still single file. Remember, taking the top 3 drivers into the big show here tonight as we get into 3 and 4. Going to cross the stripe with 6 laps to go for Brett Suggs. Has himself a 0.3 of a second lead over Langell. Langell just about 2 seconds, or 0.2 of a second rather, over Cormier. Justin Cormier doing everything he can to try and get that white, purple, and black machine up towards the front, but he's going to try and hold on to that transfer position right now. You can see Suggs goes a little bit high, drifts up just a little bit in the 18 car of Langell, able to close the gap just a little bit. Not quite up to his back bumper, but they're going to get that high five from Bubbles up on the flag stand. 5 laps to go in heat race number 2, and make mention once again, we're going to be taking the top 3, and you can see top 5, 6 cars or so have kind of broken away. They're running single file. It's a little bit of a dogfight back there for the second half of the top 10. But as you can see, that Cormier machine down in that 3rd position really seems to be attacking the corner, trying to get into the corner super hard, and able to make a lot of ground up on the entry of the corners. But with Suggs and Langell up in 1 and 2, they're able to really just get the gas throttle down as they exit the corner, and they're really able to make that car stick just a little bit. And we've heard drivers kind of struggling with the handling of this fixed setup here tonight, but that's one of the glorious things about fixed setup racing. Everybody's got the same equipment, so that's good to know. Langell taking a peek down low in that 18 car. A little bit of a wiggle for Suggs in the 33, kind of up in that middle groove here. And talking to Ashton Reiki earlier on in the race, it's not so much we're going to be seeing the high line come in, but if you're able to get up on the outside of somebody, they really have to let off the throttle to make sure that they don't drift up the racetrack and cause an incident. So that's going to be something we'll be seeing here tonight. Another wiggle there for the 33 of Suggs coming off of turn number 2. Holds it straight, keeps going once again. Look at that monster run from Cormier as he sends it on in to turn 3 and 4. But you can see just how much ground he loses on corner exit. Langell going to take another shot down on the bottom side. Suggs drifts up just a little bit. There's that wiggle once again for the 33 car. Got to wonder what's the car going to handle like after a long run. There you can see Cormier closing the gap, gets right up to the back bumper of Langell, but nothing there. Langell going to take a peek down low. Not quite enough time. How about a 3-wide finish for the lead here in this heat race? And it looks like Suggs going to drop back to P3. Langell and Cormier are going to take 1 and 2. So those guys are going to make it into the big show here this afternoon, or this evening, rather. Everybody else going to have to line them up once again in the consolation races here momentarily to try and get themselves a top 6 in those races to make the show here tonight. Everybody else can end up watching wherever they may be on the VidaneTV YouTube page. We're over on Facebook for VidaneTV, as well as Tim's Corner Motorsports. We're live on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/strictly94. We're live on Twitter, x.com/VidaneTV, and we're trying to get hooked up with the permissions to run live over on TikTok. We got to get ourselves 1,000 followers over on the VidaneTV TikTok page. That's when they'll give us the permission to go live. And that's going to be a lot of fun because we're going to use that TikTok as essentially a behind the scenes here at VidaneTV HQ. So we'll kick that up just a little bit early and you'll be able to get a good shot of, well, this guy yelling into the microphone and smashing all of the buttons to get these live productions out into the interwaves. But we're going to line them up once again. 10 more drivers, 10 more laps, and heat race number 3. Roman Blackburn up on the front row. Black and Byron in row number 2. Smith, Goss, Carpenter, Farrell, LeBlanc, and Tim Terry going to round out the 10 drivers battling it out for those 3 transfer spots. And it's always cool to have the chat open up. Let us know who you're pulling for, where you're watching from. And, well, hey, Bubbles is watching from the flag stand over in the Twitch chat. Bubbles Bronson here from the flag stand, tuned in. Happy birthday, Bubbles. Thanks for helping us out, waving the flag there. We're still mad at Barney because he got rid of the members site at iRacing. It's a sad day. Got that member site retired last night, unfortunately. We have to switch over to the other thing, but that's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's gravy. How about this? Everything is not gravy for that 44 car of Smith. Big trouble. Sends it on down into the inside wall. Still green flag racing here. I believe that was Trevor Smith. Indeed it was. You can see black smoke pouring out of the back of that 44 car. That motor is toast. And he's going to limp that thing around. We get a stay green flag racing. There goes the bumper cover off of it. We are Dunsky in that 44 car. He's going to jump down to the garage area and try and make his way back out to the racetrack for the Consi to see what he can do to get himself a starting position here this evening at Myrtle Beach. But up front, still going to be Chris Roma in the 83 car, holding on to it. He's got a 6, almost 7/10 of a second lead over Dylan Black in the 08 car. Black having a solid run there in second, and in behind him, Nathan Blackburn. Those guys have swapped positions since the start of the 08 has gone up to second. The 44 there of Blackburn drops back to second. Brett Byron in fourth, and Jason Goss there in fifth as they run. Quentin Carpenter in behind. Zane Farrell bringing that 14 late model out here for a couple of laps. Cody LeBlanc in behind him, and Tim Terry, well, Tim's doing the best he can. Struggling with the handle in that 28 car, but doing what he can here with 6 laps to go as they cross the stripe. Still chasing Chris Roma. Almost has a full second lead over a battle for second that's starting to heat up between Black and Blackburn. Five laps to go here in heat race number 3. Taking the top 3 into the big show here this afternoon, or this evening rather. We're going to be messing that time slot up quite a bit here, up here in the broadcast booth. We'll make it work though. Once it gets dark out, it's a little bit easier to see what time it is on the racetrack. But nonetheless, 4 laps to go, and you can see the field has kind of gotten pretty much single file here at this point. A lot of these drivers are going to utilize this time, the final few laps here in this heat race, essentially as a test session. You want to see what everybody else is doing on the racetrack. You want to be able to make sure that your car can compete on the high side, on the low side, trying to figure out what it's going to do after a 10-lap run. We've got 150 laps on the docket here for the big show. So you want to know what your car's going to do in a long run. And one of these heat races, maybe even with these consolation races coming up in a moment's time, that's going to be the opportunity for everybody to get out there and feel their cars out and see what's going on. But popsicle sticks, easy enough for me to say. 2 laps to go in this heat race, and things are still pretty single file up front. You can see Roma has that clean air. That's been the story of the night so far. He has pulled away. He's going to take the white flag now as he comes out of turn number 4, and second, third, and fourth, all pretty much single file right there. Dylan Black, Nathan Blackburn have the transfer spots. You can see Brett Byron, though, going to take a stab in that 23 car down the bottom side. Not quite enough room there. Has one more opportunity to try and get his way into the race here. He's going to get up to the back bumper, send it wide, going to run out of racetrack. The 23 hard end of the outside wall. Roma, Black, and Blackburn going to be the three drivers in this heat race that move on to the big show. And everybody else going to have to re-rack and restack, get themselves lined up in the last chance qualifier here, coming up in just a moment's time. And jumping right into it, we're going to have to get the lineup squared away here, because I believe we were supposed to originally have one more heat race, but we'll get Tim in here momentarily and figure out just who all is going to be making the field in this one. I know for a fact we're going to have ourselves a 21-car field, but which 21? Well, we're not quite sure here at this point, because lining them up for 12 laps, adding a couple, and taking everybody else that hasn't qualified into this one, I believe at this point we're going to be taking the top 6 into the big show here tonight. Everybody else going to tune in on the YouTube app here on VidaneTV. We're live everywhere, all over the place. Trying to take over the internet as we do here on VidaneTV. We're over on the YouTube page. Do a quick search for VidaneTV, especially if you got a smart TV hanging up in the garage, the shop, the living room, wherever you may be tuned in here this evening. We're live on Facebook for VidaneTV, as well as Tim's Corner Motorsports. And again, we're live over on the Twitch feed, twitch.tv/strictly94. Give us a like, the subscribe, the share, the follow, all that good stuff. Lets your friends and families know that you are watching a little bit of iRacing action here on a Tuesday night. And we have a jam-packed schedule this week here in the iRacing world. As we had the RBR Maritime Group come back for season number 7 last night, race number 1. That was a whole lot of fun. Ryan Messer coming home with the victory in that. Back here for the WingNut Productions Late Model Stock Series here on a Tuesday night. Tomorrow night, the Turn 4 podcast. iRacing Winter Series returning with us here next week tomorrow night, after an off week last week, and the NEP Series returns this Thursday night. And the big 24-hour at Daytona race at Daytona is this week. We may go live and do some coverage for that. So we will keep you posted. Shoot on over to the social media outlets, and we'll let you know what our plans are for that. Pace car down on pit road. Green flag flies once again. Bubbles says it's time to go. Brianna Weigel going to take the whole shot. That 11 car up in front. Brett Byron going to tuck into the second spot. Smith going to hold on to it in the third position. And how about Richard Beasley as he makes his return in the 10 car. A little bit squirrely, a little bit dicey there right up in front of Zane Farrell, but he's going to hold on to that 4th spot for the time being. These drivers know this is their last chance to try and make it into the show, and that's when you see a lot of the crazy dive bomb attacks and a lot of the crazy racing here. But right now, 6, 7, 8, 9 cars, pretty much single file, doing a little conveyor belt action here at this point, getting some air into the tires, making sure they've got the grip that they need to transfer on in to the big show here. But with 10 laps to go, crossing the stripe, Brianna Weigel holding on to the lead. Brett Byron in second. Devin Smith still right there in third as well. Little bit of a wiggle there for the 23 car of Brett Byron as he tries to get onto the back bumper of the 11 car. But we've noticed that as soon as you get up front, as soon as you get that clean air on the nose of that late model, these cars handle just a little bit better in that clean air. We've seen it happen time and time again. There's a little bit of a battle there for the third position. Richard Beasley going to go all the way down on the bottom side to see if he can get around Evan Smith. He's going to try and bring Zane Farrell with him. As you can see, Brett Byron all over now the back bumper of the 11 car. The 11 going to go high and wide up to the outside wall and hold on to it. With 8 laps to go, the front 2 sorted out single file. The 23 car going to take a peek down low. Nothing quite there. Going to tuck back in to the tire tracks. Richard Beasley going to move his car up into the 3rd spot. Zane Farrell going to try and move up to 4th there underneath the 94 car of Devin Smith. Craig Kenny in the top 5, just outside the top 5 rather, in the 6th position. You can see he's stuck on that high side. If he was able to move down just a little bit, big wiggle there for Zane Farrell as well as Craig Kenny. Coley LeBlanc back here as well. Martin Landry, Craig Tully trying to move their way up through the field here. Trevor Smith and Ashton Reiki there as well. The flaggersonly.com number 26 car. They're all chasing Brianna Weigel though. Up in the number 11 car, Brett Byron once again coming off the corner, going to try and take a peek down low, try and get some of that clean air on the nose of that 23 car, but nothing quite there. Has to tuck back into the tire tracks. Beasley going to take it wide back in 3rd position, gets up to the outside wall just a little bit, gives it a little bit of a tap, lets the wall know that Well, Beasley's back in town, and there you see the 10 car holding on to the third position. The 23 going to dip down low once again, really trying to send that car in there hard. Not quite enough room to complete the pass there in 3 and 4. And you can see the 11 has a lot of motor coming off of the corners and different lines getting into turn 1 this time. Brianna came in a little bit on the towards the middle groove, and the 23 stuck it right down to the bottom of the racetrack. So doing everything he can in that 23 car to try and take over the lead, but Weagle doing a fantastic job holding on to the lead, crossing the stripe. 3 laps to go for the 11 Monster Ride. Taking another peek down low, the 23 car, not quite enough room there, and you can see Brianna Weagle doing everything she can to hold on to the lead. Popsicle sticks now from Bubbles in the flag stand. Little bit of a wiggle from the 23 car, drops back just a bit. Richard Beasley is there. Zane Farrell going to try and make it a two-way tango there for that third position. He's going to take a peek down low on the 10 machine. He's going to tuck into the tire tracks, and once again, you can see these drivers trying to take a peek down low, trying to get themselves a pass, but it doesn't seem to quite work. And there you see it, white flag, a white rag for the number 11 car, and the caution flag going to fly, and we're going to get them re-racked and restacked for a green-white checkered attempt. Craig Tully down on the, or in the garage area, or down on pit road rather. It looks like, calamity here on what was almost the final lap as we take a peek here. There you see the 90 car gets turned around. Oh, big trouble. Big trouble in the, I believe that's the 7 car. That's going to be Keith Lord. No, just kidding. That's going to be Cody LeBlanc in that car. That's the 22 in the timing and scoring hard into the outside wall. Tully involved as well. Those guys may be Dunsky for the evening. Cody LeBlanc going to pull down to the pit area and get that car worked on just a little bit, see if he can come back out and grab one of these transfer spots. But in any sense, going to re-rack, restack once again. Brianna Weagle holding on to the lead. Led all the laps so far in this Consi race. Brett Byron there in second, Richard Beasley in third, Zane Farrell and Devin Smith the top 5. Trevor Smith in 6th, Martin Landry, Ashton Reekie, and Craig Kenny going to be the 9 drivers. Still out on track. Cody LeBlanc, Craig Tully not out of this one just yet, but they are down on pit road with some extensive damage. So we'll see if they're going to be able to get out there and rejoin the field here, if they're going to be tuned in on the old app, on the VidaneTV YouTube page, on Facebook, on Twitch, wherever they may be tuning in to watch us here. And that's always one of the cool things too, is being able to get some of the driver input from the chat. Here we go. Pace car down on pit road once again. Weagle down on the bottom. Byron up on the top side. Green flag flies. 11 gets the hole shot. Brianna Weagle going to close that door up on the high side. The 23 going to dip down low. Nothing quite there. Gets up, touches the back bumper. Backs off just a little bit, letting Brianna Weagle know that he's there. Big slide, though, for the 23 car. He's now got a mirror full of Beasley. That 10 machine is coming in a hurry. He's going to get up into the back bumper. Let him know they're spinning in behind. Caution. Flag flies again here in the first consolation race. And we're going to restack them, re-rack them once again. That pace car's digging down on the apron. Holy smokes. Getting everybody lined up here once again. There you see Ashton Reekie making up a couple of spots. He's currently in that 6th position. Smith in the 94 car there in 5th. Zane Farrell and Richard Beasley 4th and 5th. Byron and Weagle running in at the 2nd and 1st position there. And we're going to get the caution one more again, and we'll see if timing becomes an issue. And a lot of times with these heat races, if we've gotten multiple caution flags, we might bump into the time limit for this consolation race, but we'll see. We'll see. Still a lot of time left to go in the evening here. A lot of racing action here on VidaneTV, especially as we're only on race 2 of 5 this week, and that's not counting the 24-hour. But a quick little caution here to get everybody re-racked, restacked once again. Green-white checkered attempt numero 2. Great start there once again for Brianna Weagle. Another good start for Brett Byron, but he has a mirror full and now a left-hand side full of Richard Beasley in that 10 car, side by side for second. Exactly what Brianna Weagle wanted to see. The 23 car now has to kind of deal with that driver in third, trying to take away his spot. But Brianna Weagle going to get the white flag this time by. Next flag going to end the race. There you see Brett Byron doing everything he can to try and get down to the bottom side. Nothing there. Wrecking in the back straight away. We already took the white flag, though. We are going to get this one done. Brianna Weagle into 3 and 4 for the final time in this consolation race. Take that checkered flag. Brianna Weagle going to come home with the win. Brett Byron in second. Richard Beasley third. Zane Farrell in fourth. Devin Smith, Trevor Smith, Martin Landry, and Ashton Reiki going to be the top 8. Craig Kenny and Cody LeBlanc in 9th and 10th. And Craig Tully going to be scored with 11th. There's a little extracurricular activities after the checkered flag there from Ashton. Brianna Weagle going up, saying hello as well. And we're going to get them all lined up once again for the final consolation race here of the evening to set the field for tonight's Myrtle Beach 150, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun to follow along. Once again, we're live all over the internet. We're live on YouTube, live on Facebook, we're live on Twitch, we're live on Twitter. We're trying to get live on TikTok. We need the followers, though. We need the fan base to let TikTok know that we know how to party here at VidaneTV. So shoot on over, give us the like, the subscribe, the share, all that good stuff. And man, oh man, we have some racing action to deal with this evening. 12 more drivers, 12 more laps, one more consolation race, and we will be feature racing here momentarily. Keith Lord, Jake Goodwin going to be the front row on this one. Jason Goss going to roll off P3. Dave Cassidy, Colin Boudreau going to be the top 5 as they get ready to take the start. Quentin Carpenter, Travis Turple, Brady Cox, Dave Horton, Tim Terry, Danny Vitch, Scott Negus, and Dave Cassidy, the 12 drivers in this one. And once again, a dozen laps up on the board, and we're going to be racing once again. Going to find out who's going to make the big show and who's going to be watching at home or at the racetrack or in the garage or in the shop or at the supermarket. Wherever you've got cell phone service, you can pretty much watch us here at VidaneTV. Download that YouTube app, do a quick search for VidaneTV, and bam, pops right up at your fingertips. Pretty cool stuff, this internet, I tell you. 12 laps on the docket. Getting ready to line them up once again. No, we're not. We're already lined up. We're lined up 2 by 2. Lights are off on the iRacing pace car. We're going to be racing once again here. A little last chance for romance, as it were. And there you see the lights off on the iRacing pace car. Going to make that hard left-hand turn down to pit road next time by. We'll get to 1 to go this time by. And you can see the 60 going to start down on the bottom side. There we go. Going to dip that pace car down. We're going to go racing once again here. Final consolation race of the evening. Lord on the bottom, Goodwin up on top. Goss, Carpenter, Turple, the top 5. Green, green, green. Keith Lord gets a little bit of a hole shot there. Jason Goss doing a great job there. And second and 24 to Jake Goodwin holding on in that position. You can see the 122 in behind Quentin Carpenter getting it all sorted out. Colin Boudreau, Brady Cox, a little side-by-side action for that top 5 position. And this is the part you're starting to see a little bit more rubber kind of build up on the racetrack. It's going to slow the cars down. Oh, big wiggle for the 122. The 76 car is there. Brady Cox able to get on the binders just enough to make sure he doesn't plow into the back of the 122. And you can see that Quentin Carpenter struggling with the handling in that gold, green, and black car, trying to make a little magic happen. How about some 3-wide action here at Myrtle Beach? The 122 stuck in the middle. The 76 going to go all the way down to the bottom side. Scott Negus going to join the party there as well. Going to see if he can get up there. Oh, the 122 is around. Negus does a great job trying to get woed up. That could have been a whole lot worse than it was, but that's going to bring out the yellow flag for the first time in this Consi race. And man, oh man, we'll take a peek here at the U-House Racing Designs instant replay. And we're going to back it up a little bit here because it's great to see 3-wide racing here. And there you see the 122 just gets a shot, doesn't get a shot, gets loose. There's that 3-wide incident for the time being. Had it all sorted out. The 122 gets a little bit loose there, loses the back of the race car, has a little bit of help. Scott Negus nowhere to go there at that point. Could have been a whole lot worse for that incident, but you can see the 122 A-OK. A little bit of right rear damage there, but he's going to grab a gear, get rolling once again. Going to come down to pit road and get that thing worked on just a little bit and see if he can rejoin the field here with a moment's time to see if he can get back out on track. Keith Lord going to hold on to the lead. Jason Goss, Jake Goodwin, Brady Cox, and Colin Boudreau going to be the top 5 as they run. Green flag flies again, 6 laps to go, and the last chance for romance. Keith Lord holding on to the lead, Jason Goss in second. It's a battle for that second position. A 24 car all the way over, all over the back bumper. Going to dip down to the bottom side of the track, see if he can get a little bit of momentum, but not quite anything there. The 76 going to take that advantage and move it up to the middle side of the racetrack. There's a little bit of contact between the 76 and the 24. High five from Bubbles up on the flag stand. 5 laps to go in this heat race, still side by side for the third position. Jason Goss trying to peek down low. Oh, there's some contact, knocking Jake Goodwin down the racetrack a little bit. You can see the 24 almost wanted to take a shot, but thought better of it, and you can see in his head here at this point, a little bit squirrely there in the back end of that 24 car. Scott Negus going to try and take advantage. Up on the high side, not quite enough grip there just yet, not enough rubber put down in this one, so Negus going to tuck back into the tire tracks in that 55 car as Colin Boudreau going to close up to the back bumper. Jake Goodwin dropping back just a little bit. That's going to get Brady Cox a little bit of a confidence booster, as you can see that 76 car now all over the back bumper of Jason Goss. Goss going to take a peek down low in that second position, see if he can do anything with the current leader, Keith Lord. But man, oh man, we've seen it a couple of times so far here tonight. Once you get up in that clean air, once you get up in the front of the field, you don't really have any issues as far as handling goes. You can see now side by side for that second position. Cox is going to take over that number 2 hole. The 76 car now going to set his sights on the lead, but does he have enough time to get up to the 17, or the 60 rather, of Keith Lord? White flag, a white rag one more time around, and that 76 car is there. I think he might have an opportunity here in 3 and 4 to send her on, and right on the back bumper though. Coming out of turn number 2, we'll see if he makes the move. Negative. We'll see. Gonna back up the throttle a little bit, take a shot down low. Little bit too loose though for the 76 car. Not quite getting it hooked up. Not quite able to get it done, but gonna finish with a solid second place. Jason Goss there in third. Jake Odom, Scott Negus, the top 5. Colin Boudreau, Danny Vitch, and Dave Horton going to be the 8 drivers that finish this one on the lead lap. Everybody else down on pit road, so we'll see who's going to make the big show here momentarily. This is usually the opportunity. Tim Terry gets up on the soapbox, does the drivers meeting, lets everybody know what the move of the race is going to be throughout the night here, and then we're going to put 150 laps up on the board, and we're going to go racing. But before we get there, going to give us 60 seconds or so to get these drivers the last final opportunity to work out the kinks in the car, gets everything ready to rock and roll here for 150 laps on the docket. So we'll take a peek here around the racetrack and see what all is going to be going on here, which drivers are going to be making the show, and which drivers are going to be tuning in here on VidaneTV. Final opportunity for these drivers to get everything worked out with their cars, with their sim racing rigs, and with the steering wheel, making sure everything's ready to go. And Tim jumps up in the booth. And Tim, I got to ask you, you've never won a heat race here in TCM. Brianna Weagle's got one.
No, that's a Consi. Get it right.
She won a Consi. That's right. She won a Consi race.
Yes. Travis Turple I was trying to get in, and he closed the door and wrecked in front of my nose. But Paul, I would like to send condolences to all our old iRacing friends tonight. For you and me and a lot of people, we lost something very valuable today, and that was the iRacing member site and the ability to connect to iRacing sessions through the member site. So Zane Farrell feels the same way, I believe, because I think that's what he put in the put in the game chat. But we'd like to have a moment of silence as these cars grid for the iRacing member site and all those that are affected from its loss.
A lot of good times with that iRacing member site. So much ease. So much ease getting in and out of these races as a spectator, as a driver, as a fan, as a crew chief, as a spotter. And now we're all being forced to use the UI website Little convoluted in my eyes, but what do I know? I'm just a boomer that's been doing the sim racing thing for 25 plus years. But in any sense, we'll shift gears once again and make sure we're running that high octane stuff as these drivers peel off a pit road for the final time. Well, the final time under these yellow flags, anyway. Josh Land's going to start on the pole. Richard Drake there in second. Chris Roma, Brett Suggs there in row number 2. Tant Woldridge, Dylan Black in row number 3. Chris McKenna, Justin Cormier, Nathan Blackburn, and Brianna Weagle going to round out the top 10. Keith Lord, Brett Byron, 10th and 11th. Richard Beasley there in 12th. Brady Cox in 13th. 14th going to go to the number 14, Zane Farrell. Devin Smith, Trevor Smith back there in 15th and 16th. Jason Goss, Jake Goodwin, Scott Negus, Colin Boudreau, and Brett Byron going to be the 21 drivers here in this one, and it is going to be a barn burner. 150 laps on the docket here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We're live all over the heckin' place. We're live all over the internet. We're on Facebook. We are on Twitch. We are on YouTube. Just do you a search for Tim's Corner Motorsports or the VidaneTV, and we will. You'll find us. We're there. Green flag once again, kicking things off. How about that hole shot for the 18 Elangelo? He's going to get about 2-3 car lengths heading into first corner here, and you can see a little side-by-side action between Chris Roma, Richard Drake in second and third. Tant Woldridge there in fourth, and Brett Suggs in the fifth position as they run. And you can already tell there's a lot of different lines in this racetrack, and almost all of them are going to get utilized here. But all the way around this racetrack, you're going to see high lines, low lines, mid lines. We talked to Ashton Reiki earlier on, made mention that once you get underneath somebody, it's really hard, or once you get on the outside of somebody, it's really difficult for that bottom car to make any kind of ground, because as they have to lift into the corner so they don't drift up into the high line and cause a wreck. So that might be something we keep an eye on here. The front 5-6 cars get it all sorted out. There you see Brett Suggs in that 33 car. Tant Woldridge right up in front of him. Little side-by-side action there behind Dylan Black, going to try and make that high side worse. Chris McKenna in the 35 down on the bottom side, trying to get a little bit of air on the front of this late model stock. There you see Justin Cormier in the 9th position. 10th place is going to be the 76 there of Brady Cox, and 21 drivers on the field. Keith Lord just on the outside looking in. Jason Goss, Zane Farrell in behind him. Jake Goodwin as well with the Jeff Gordon throwback, the DuPont number 24. I'm always happy to see that paint scheme out on track, no matter what kind of style of race car it's on. There's the 44 car of Trevor Smith, Devin Smith right in behind in the 94, the 81 car of Colin Boudreau, Brett Byron right in behind in that 23 car, Richard Beasley and Brianna Weagle back in the towards the back of the pack. Josh Langelo still up front in that 18 car, pulling away by about a half a second or so over Roma in the number 83. Richard Drake back to that third position. Tant Woldridge, Chris McKenna going to be the top 5. Brett Suggs having some issues in the 33 car. There you see, stuck on the high side, not able to get down to the bottom side of the racetrack to make up any of those positions. There you can see he's going to finally be able to tuck in behind the number 76 car of Brady Cox, rather. But that's after losing 6 positions from that solid qualifying effort up in the 4th place for the 33. So we'll see if he's going to be able to recover. Keith Lord in behind that number 60 car. Going to see what he can do now with Brett Suggs. There a little side-by-side action in behind. Zane Farrell in the middle groove. He's going to try and get up and around Jason Goss there in the 41 car. All the while, Scott Negus trying to peek on, see if he can get a door to open, get a window to open, and see if he can grab himself a spot. But crossing the stripe here, completing lap number 9 in the books. Long way to go, short time to get there. Everybody chasing Josh Langelo in the 18. Got to give a shout out to everybody tuning in here. Chat starting to heat up just a little bit. Scott McDonald, Corey Casagrande shooting for their NEP running mates. They're going to be racing this Thursday night. They're going to be racing in the 24-hour at Daytona this weekend as well. Got to give those guys a little bit of a shout out. Barry Black, good luck Dylan from Black's Racing. Dylan Black up in the mix so far. Running P6, the 08 car, how solidly in the show. You can see he has a little bit of breathing room in front and behind. So doing everything he can to hold on to this one, have himself a good finish in the Myrtle Beach 150. Ashton Reiki is not in. Kenny Hopper tuning in over on the Tim's Corner Motorsports page. We'll probably see Ashton up here in the booth momentarily. He likes to jump down to the snack stand and hook us up here in the booth. And Bubbles says hi to Tim. Bubbles, our honorary flagman here this evening, as we're mad at iRacing and we're mad at Barney for taking away the members site, making everybody jump on in to these races with the UI. Not a big fan. Not a big fan here at VidaneTV, but I digress. Langell, Roma, and Drake pretty much throw a blanket over those three. They're starting to pull away from the field here as well. Tanton Woldridge back in fourth, about a second gap between first and fourth. McKenna back in fifth. Black still holding on to the sixth spot. Blackburn, Cormier, Cox, and Suggs at top 10. And Suggs was able to finally grab a spot back there in the 10th position and hasn't really been able to go forward or backward here at this point. You can see kind of slid back there, got stuck in the high racing groove, and almost got freight trained, as it were. And you can see Josh Langell now has himself a mirror full of the Chris Roma machine. There is a lot of black, white, and yellow coming up on him, and you can see he gets right up to the back bumper, getting into the corner, backs up just a little bit, and a hard charge off of the corner there for the 83 car. Able to really get that car to stick on the bottom side of the racetrack. Langell holding on to a pretty wheel, though. Holding on to the lead, as you can see he is got the lead. He's going to lead lap 15, but that 83 car, man, he is there all over the back bumper, and we'll see what he's going to do here. Still early on. You don't want to force the issue too much here. Got a long way to go here in the 150 lapper here at Myrtle Beach, but you want to make sure you get to the top as quickly as you can. You want to make sure you get to the top of the board as quickly as you can, because once you get that fresh air on the nose, we've seen it in the heat races and the Conti races all night long. Once you get up and start leading some laps, you're almost able to pull away as these drivers get a little bit of tire wear, as that air really helps kind of turn the race car, get it to de-wedge, as it were, and doing a great job up front. The 18 car holding on to it, and the 83 also doing a great job. It almost looks like there's a chain hooked up between the leader and second place, as there's not really too much wiggle room right in the tire tracks. The 83 is, there's a little bit of a wiggle. Richard Drake going to hold on to the third spot. He's going to kind of close up just a little bit, and almost an accordion effect up towards the front, as the laps kind of dwindle in, and these drivers are getting closer and closer. And what this does is it really gives them an opportunity to see what everybody's doing here on a long green flag run. We haven't really had one of those in the this evening so far. The longest we've gone is probably about 10 laps or so in those heat races. So drivers are able to figure out kind of what their cars are doing after that 10 laps, but once you double it up, you're not really sure. It's tough to tell what the car's going to do. We'll take a quick peek at onboard action here with the Rational One. Richard Drake in that third position. You can hear just how hard he's off that throttle on the brake and mashing it back up. You can see a little bit of lap traffic off into the distance there that Langell's going to have to deal with here momentarily. And you can see he gets a little bit of a close-up view from that 18 car. Brianna Weigel off track, it looks like. Going to lose a lap as she comes down pit road. For an unscheduled stop. That's actually Weigel rejoining the field, getting ready to go a lap down. She's going to take, oh, she hits one of the turtles down on the bottom side of the racetrack. Unfortunately, nowhere to go. Leader involved in that one as well. That is a tough break. That is almost unavoidable. That is a tough spot to pass here. That's going to bring out the caution. You can see Langell going to come down pit road. We'll see if that is one of those deals that kind of sorts itself out. But, man, it's one of those things that I never really understood when they put them on the racetrack. And you'll be able to see here from the blimp. You can see the 11 sees the leader. She's going to go down to the bottom side of the racetrack, try and get down to the apron, and just one of those turtle bump things. I don't know why they're called turtles, but it's a bump in the racetrack, kind of a rumble strip type deal. And just kind of sent her off into the oblivion. That's a tough spot to be in. Definitely don't want to be here. We'll take one more shot at it so you can kind of see what we're talking about here. Doing everything she can to get off the racetrack out of the way, and just when the front tires are up in the air, there's no grip. No grip. So you can't really turn the car when the tires aren't making contact with the surface. So that's a tough break. We'll looks like the 11 is still a lap down. Chris Roma going to inherit the lead here in the 83 car. Richard Drake going to be in second. Tanton Woldridge, Chris McKenna, Dylan Black now the top five. Nathan Blackburn, Brady Cox, Justin Cormier, Zane Farrell, and Jason Goss going to be the top 10 as they run. And you can see everybody joining up behind the pace car as we're going to get re-racked and restacked here after the first caution here on lap number 24. 125 laps left to go here, and this one should be getting a 1 to go this time by. Lights are going to go off in the iRacing pace car. We're lined up 2 by 2 all the way through. Chris Roma going to take the bottom side. Richard Drake up on the top. Tanton Woldridge, Chris McKenna, and Dylan Black going to restart in the top 5, and you can already see this is going to be an entertaining race as we race on into the sunset. Jordan Vito made a fantastic point. It almost looks like brake lights when the sunset kind of hits the back of these cars. It hits the fuel cell just a little bit. It almost looks like brake lights, and you gotta hope that the folks in here know that there's no brake lights on the late model. So if you see that brake light, you don't necessarily want to stop in the middle of the track. I don't think we've had that issue yet, but that might be something to keep an eye out here for sure. Roma going to pull away by a couple of car lengths now, side by side for second. Woldridge down on the bottom side. Drake up on top. Chris McKenna is there as well. They're side by side in behind him. Blackburn and Black going back and forth for that position. And man, oh man, these guys know how to party here at Myrtle Beach. You can see the front 4 cars. Single file, they're trying to pull away. Side by side is the battle for 5th right now, and it's still going back and forth between Blackburn and Black as they come out of turns 3 and 4, trying to get that high side to work in the 5 car. You can see it has the momentum, able to get up there, but by the time you're able to capitalize on it, the straightaway ends. You have to get back into the corner. So you can see Dylan Black doing everything he can down the bottom side in that 08 car as caution flag flies. Believe that may be a Devin Smith issue in the 94 car, but we'll back up to U-House Racing Designs Instant Replay, take a little peek at it, see what went down, and it looks like the 94 car, there we go, we'll back that up just a little bit, ended up having to call for a tow truck in that 94 car, that's why you saw him down on pit road. But here's the U-House Racing Design Instant Replay, and you can see just how many different lines are on the racetrack, and that was tough. That was, there were 3 different race cars going for the same piece of real estate from 3 different angles, it looked like, at that point. So we'll see if we can back that up one more time and take a look at it here in slow motion. And we're going to kind of focus in. Hard charging up on the high side, hard charging down on the bottom side. The 94 tries to get out of the way of the 44 down low, but the 81 was there because he had to run up on the high side. So yeah, that 3 pieces of real estate up for grabs, 1 piece of real estate rather, up for grabs. 3 drivers trying to grab it, and there you can see big monster hits for the 81 and the 94 car. The 94 going to go down to pit road right in behind the 24 car. Get some of that damage taken care of and try and get back out into this one, make up some points towards the championship here. And Chris Roma going to hold on to the lead. Richard Drake, Tanton Woldridge, Chris McKenna, and Dylan Black, the top 5 as they run. Sun's starting to set just a bit here on the racetrack here at Myrtle Beach. Chris Roma holding on to the lead here, 32 laps in. Richard Drake in second, Tanton Woldridge. Chris McKenna, easy enough for me to say. Dylan Black, Nathan Blackbird, Brady Cox, Zane Farrell, Justin Cormier, and Jason Goss going to be the top 10 as they run. Getting the 1 to go this time by Lights Off in the iRacing pace car, lining them up 2 by 2. Once again, Roma's going to take that bottom side. Drake up on the high side. Tanton Woldridge going to tuck in there in 3rd as well. The iRacing pace car shutting those lights off. We're going to turn them loose once again after a quick pair of cautions here. There goes the pace car down on the safety of pit road. Once again, we're going to wait for Bubbles up in the flag stand. The 83 down on the bottom side. The Laker News Ride up on the high side. Making them all wait for it this time. Bunching up the pack, and there we go. Green flag flies. Roma gets the shot. 2-3 car lengths heading into turn number 1. Side by side is the battle for second, but Woldridge going to make quick work of Richard Drake. Going to try to anyway. Drake charging hard up on the high side of the wall. The 141 Laker News machine trying to hold on to 3rd at this point. You can see you're going to get a big run up on that high side, but you run out of real estate. You run out of racetrack to try and take that momentum and get that particular spot. Woldridge has almost enough there to close it up on the front straightaway, but on the back straightaway, Richard Drake is able to really close that door once again, Chris McKenna in the 35 car just waiting for these two to make any kind of mistake, make some kind of bobble or wiggle or anything like that to where he can just kind of kick that door down and take one of those, if not both of those podium spots. Dylan Black in behind him there as well in the 08 car. Brady Cox in the 76. Biggest mover of the race, up 7 spots. And you can see trying to take another one away there from Dylan Black. Going to try and get up to the back bumper and see what he can do with that 08 machine. But the 08 machine has himself a windshield full of the 35. So as these drivers are worried about who's in front of them, everybody's kind of worried about who's in behind as well. Lots of racing action all over this racetrack. You can see multiple different racing grooves starting to build here as we get more and more rubber put down on the racetrack. And these drivers, they're going to have to go to do a little homework, find out what their cars are going to do. We've only really had about a 15-lap run or so. So once this thing gets kind of stretched out and we get one of those long green flag runs, we're really going to see the handling kind of fall off just a little bit. Talking to a couple of the drivers throughout the practice session earlier on this afternoon, it does seem like, oh, the 41 of Goss is around. Believe that's going to bring the caution flag out. It may not, though. Everybody gets it all sorted out. The 41 able to grab a gear and get rolling once again. Green flag stays out, but trouble for Jason Goss. Finds himself around in that 41 car after climbing halfway through the field up into the top 10 for a brief moment of time. And you can see Tanner Woldridge going to finally complete that pass for second. Richard Drake going to drop on back to third. Chris McKenna in fourth, and Dylan Black going to hold on to the fifth spot for right now, crossing the stripe, starting lap number 42. Dan Woldridge setting his sights now on the back bumper of the leader. He's going to see what that 83 car is doing on a long green flag run. He's starting to pull away from the 141 car just a little bit, so he's able to get a little bit of breathing room in behind. A nice wide angle shot here shows we've got a little bit of conveyor belt action up in the top 10 or so. A couple of drivers kind of peeking their nose out to see if they can maybe get themselves a little bit of air on the nose. There's a little side-by-side action. Zane Farrell down on the bottom side, the number 5 car of Nathan Blackburn up on the high side, and that's what we talked to our buddy Ashton Reiki about earlier. Once you get up on that high side on the outside of someone, it's really difficult for them to hold on to that position down on the bottom side of the racetrack. Zane Farrell going to make it work, though. He's going to slide himself up into the 7th spot, and with that, he's now tied for the biggest mover of the race with +9. Travis Smith back here in the 44 car. He's gained himself 9 spots as well, and still on the move, still has a little ways to go. But up front, still Tant Woldridge trying to chase down Chris Roma, getting a little bit closer now. The gap, 0.2 of a second and closing for Tant Woldridge coming up on the back bumper of Chris Roma. And that's when you know that these drivers want to get going. They want to get up to the lead. They want that clean air, and they want to be able to kind of control the pace of this race. You can take a look at the last time by lap times as they cross the stripe. Leaders are running 19.2, 19.1, and pretty much everybody throughout the field in the 19.2s, 19.3s once you get a little bit further on back. And if we switch that scoring pylon, they've dropped by about 2-3 of a second, 30, 40, 50 laps into this run. So that's going to be something as well we're going to have to keep an eye on here. We do have 2 sets of tires down on pit road that these drivers are going to be able to utilize, and we will see when that's going to cut, when that'll happen. Because when you do have the tires, you don't want to take them too early because you'll lose all your track position, burn the tires out. But when you're a third of the lap way into this one, 50 laps down, 102 to go, or 48 down, 102 to go, now you're going to want to start thinking about tires. Do you take them now? Do you take them later on? Or are we going to get ourselves a caution flag here? It takes a long time to put on 4 tires on these late model stocks here in the iRacing service. So that's going to be something we keep an eye on here as well. Extended pit stops, especially if we end up getting them under green flag conditions, which we've seen here multiple times here on VidaneTV, as well as in the Tim's Corner Motorsports WingNut production late model stock series. Tant Woldridge going to take a peek down low. The door is open, and he's going to try and boot that thing down. Tant Woldridge down to the bottom side of the racetrack in the number 28 car. Chris Roma going to slam that door closed, though. Hold on to the lead for another lap, and this time by we'll see what goes on, because Tant Woldridge has been able to close up the back bumper there in 3 and 4 and kind of utilize the backstretch on the lap next time by to really get down to the bottom side of the track and see if he can close in on 3 and 4. And that's going to be something that he's going to want to study and find out how it works out for the end of the race. If it comes down to it, you're on the last lap, and all you have to do is make that thing stick on the bottom side of the track and hope that the guy up on the top side of the track has an issue, drifts up the track. That's exactly what you're going to do to try and win this race. 150 laps here at Myrtle Beach is definitely no slouch, and it gets you a little bragging rights, a little hardware as well here on a little Tuesday night racing. Coming across the stripe here for lap number 53. Roma's going to hold on to it, but he has got a mirror full of that Tanton Woolridge ride. Little onboard action here with Tanton Woolridge from the second position. You can see he's got a great view of the leader. Chris Roma's bumper getting bigger and bigger in that windshield. And you can see he's trying to do everything to stay. You want to stay on the bottom side of the racetrack, but you don't want to hit those bumps down on the bottom of the racetrack. We saw Brianna Weigel in the 11 car have some issues with that. And as the sun's setting, sun glare definitely going to be an issue as well, especially some of those sharp race cars that have the chrome numbers like the Roma Brothers machines, especially that one out in the front. Always cool to see kind of the black and white with the yellow chrome. That's a good combo there in the iRacing world. The 28 car right on the back bumper. Looks like he's going to back up just a little bit. Not a lot. Going to back up just a little bit. Give Roma some room. Let him know that, hey, we got a long race to go. We'll sort this out later on. We got to get away from everybody else up here in the top 5. There you see Richard Drake in second. The Laker News 141 machine. Chris Kenna in the 35 back here in fourth. Brady Cox in the 76 having a solid run. 8 spots gained so far here tonight. Dylan Black in the 08 car having a good run as well, just outside the top 5 in 6th. Going to try and take a peek on that 5th position, but that's all it's going to be for right now, is a little bit of a peek. Zane Farrell having a solid run as well. He's up 9 spots in the 7th position. Nathan Blackburn back here in 8th. Justin Cormier and Brett Suggs rounding out the top 10. And you can see Suggs now stuck. I don't know if he's stuck on that high side or if he's trying to make that outside line work. He kind of got drifted back just a little bit, got stuck up there earlier on, lost a bunch of track position. But as these tires start to wear, maybe we'll see that high line come in at just a bit. The 5 car going to go up into the outside wall, give it a little bit of a touch, give it a little bit of a stripe of paint. He's going to do it again this time by coming out of turn number 4. And we've seen a lot of drivers do that all evening long here. It almost seems like that front straightaway needs to be moved over by about 5 or 6 feet. Because we've had a bunch of drivers go up and give it a little bit of a tap, tap, tap. Chris Roma still holding on to the lead up front. You can see, though, Tanton Woolridge is there. He is all over the back bumper. You can see there's going to be a battle for sure, and Richard Drake has the best seat in the house. How about this battle, though, for 4th and 5th? Chris McKenna holding on to it on the high side, but Brady Cox on the bottom side trying to make a little bit of a magic happen. There's a little bit of a tap on the side of the door. They're going to let each other know that they are there, and that's going to open the door in for Zane Farrell in behind this battle. Dylan Black is there as well, and you can see they're still side by side. The 76 doing everything he can, doesn't want to give up the bottom side of the racetrack. Gonna get down in there, big time slide coming out of turn 4 after the contact. It looks like they touch again right before the start finish line, and they're still side by side heading into 1 and 2. Still duking it out here, 35 down low, the 76 up on the high side, battling it out for that 4th position. Dylan Black still in 6th, Zane Farrell still in 7th, so those guys have an opportunity to potentially make up a little bit of ground here as we got a battle for the lead. Chris Roma down on the bottom side, and Tanton Woolridge trying to make that top side work. He's going to have Richard Drake go up there, see if he can give him a little bit of a push ski in that 141 ride. You can see just really able to get a big run as the car on the bottom side of the track just has to let off the throttle to make sure that car doesn't drift up. And that's something that Tanton Woolridge definitely knows with these late model stocks here at Myrtle Beach, and trying to make that high side work as we get down into the second half of this race. Just about getting there, 66, 120, 73.5. We're getting there. We're getting there. Getting pretty close. As 75 going to be the halfway marker here. Still side by side for the lead. As you can see, Roman down on the bottom side, Woldridge up on the top. He's got a little bit of an advantage this time by. He's got about a half a car length over Roma. It comes out of the corner. Now he's got just enough time, a fraction of a second to try and slide on down. There you see it. Going to slide on down, complete the pass. Tant Woldridge to the point in that 28 car. Roma back to second. Drake up to the outside wall, giving it a little bit of a tap, a little bit of a scrape there, but it doesn't seem like it slowed him down any. He's going to close under the back bumper and see if he can take that little bit of a hiccup there from Roma. See if he can take advantage and close in on that second position. Caution flag flies here on lap number 7. He looks like we may have some issues here for Travis Smith. We'll pop it up on the U-House Racing Designs instant replay. And there you can see car all the way down the bottom side of the track, a little bit on the out of shape side, and there's the contact. We will back that up once again. There you see the 41 of Goss, the 44 of Smith, and that's a tough thing to call here. Well, you can see they were racing hard. We'll back it up. We'll take a peek. Goss in there, a little bit too hot to trot. There's the contact, the 44 into the 41. The 41 getting back in there. A little hot for Jason Goss in a 41 car. They both spin simultaneously down to the bottom side of the track, and that's going to bring out the caution flag once again. And what that's going to do is it's going to be feeding time at the zoo. Everybody coming down pit road to get some tires, at least 2 tires. It looks like it's 2 tires for the Chris Roma machine. Suggs going to take 2 tires. Josh Langell appears to have taken 2 tires. Woldridge as well. So a lot of 2-tire stops, a lot of 4-tire stops. Here's a gaggle of cars trying to get off a pit road here, and that's going to be, we'll get that all sorted out on the timing and scoring. Chris McKenna stayed out to lead a lap, going to come down and get service to that machine. So it looks like Chris Roma going to re-inherit the lead here in the 83 car, and as they come around, it looks like Suggs going to be in second, but we'll double check on that because we're going to see a couple of drivers visit pit road multiple times here. We made mention it takes a long time to swap out 4 tires here on these late model stocks here in the iRacing world. So this is going to be the opportunity. Come down, get 2, come down, get the other 2, and maybe get some snacks and some fuel in this thing as well. So we're just shy of the halfway marker here. 2 more laps and it'll be so. Got to thank everybody for tuning in here tonight for the WingNut Productions Late Model Stock Series here. We've been racing these cars on Tuesday nights. You can see the pace car going to pick up a couple of drivers from pit road there on the front straightaway. They're going to rejoin the field here as we get the lights off. 1 to go here, so we're going to get that restart right at the halfway marker. Got to thank everybody for tuning in here live all over the internet, trying to take over like we do here on VidaneTV. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. We're going to get those lights back on here and take one more lap as we get the field, the running order rather, sorted out. And we will take that green flag here next time by here at Myrtle Beach. And we're still trying to get live over on the old TikTok. We need 1,000 followers over there on TikTok before they'll let us go live. And that's going to be a whole lot of fun once we do indeed get that all set up. We're going to do a little behind the scenes action here when we do go live at VidaneTV HQ. It'll give you a good opportunity to see what goes on backstage here at VidaneTV. You'll be able to watch me yell into a microphone, slamming some buttons, and maybe throw a monitor here and there. Well, we don't do that anymore. Got to get a cap on the anger issues that we've had in the past. But got it all sorted out here at the track. Looks like the lights. Oh no, lights are still on here on the iRacing pace car. So still trying to get the lineup sorted out towards the back of the pack, and that's giving these drivers an opportunity to kind of figure out a game plan here for this second half of the race. Crossing the stripe here, going to be lap number 76, and that's 1 lap past halfway. So going to be interesting. You know, we've got everybody coming down pit road. They know they can make it this distance on fuel. They just did it. They do have some drivers up towards the front that took 2 tires. A couple of drivers towards the back took 4 tires. I don't believe anybody took no tires. So it is going to be a race to the finish here. And oh, by the way, there's still another set of tires down on pit road. 23 car going to get a lap back there as he goes on by. Going to rejoin the tail end of the field. That'll give us 13 cars on the lead lap after those extended pit stops. Man, plow trucks make funny noises when they run into trees. Sorry about that. Folks have to run outside here at HQ, and everybody's okay, but calamity outside here as the snow is coming down, and apparently the plow trucks are hitting trees. That's no bueno. Well, what is bueno is the racing action here. Chris Roma holding on to the lead. Brett Suggs in that second spot. We saw him up towards the front earlier on, slid back just a little bit, got stuck in that middle groove, that high groove, and got shuffled on towards the back there, and he had himself a 2-tire pit stop, was able to gain a bunch of spots there on pit road. That 33 crew definitely been hitting their Jones barbecue and foot massage to get prepped for this race. And you can see they got him out on pit, out up towards the high side. But man, oh man, it looks like the same thing happening to the 33 machine, slipping on back, getting stuck in that higher groove, trying to make it work, but unfortunately just losing positions, not able to make the magic happen up towards the top side. Tanton Woolridge back in a second there. You see Josh Langell trying to get back up to the lead. He is back in the 3rd position. They're side by side. Dylan Black down on the bottom side. Brett Suggs on top in the 33. We get it all sorted out. A little single file action here for the front 10 cars or so. And this is going to be where you're going to start to see some drivers kind of come and go, because you've got a lot of drivers towards the back that have those 4 fresh tires. You've got some up towards the front that only took the 2. So as we kind of get in a little bit deeper into this one, you'll start to see a little bit of shuffling happening, probably the second half of the top 10. It's going to take a lot more than I think 4 tires to catch these 2 guys up front. Chris Roma, Tanton Woolridge, Josh Langell up in the mix as well. Brett Suggs, Dylan Black, the top 5 as they run. Chris McKenna having a solid run there in the 35 car. There you see all over the back bumper of Dylan Black. Zane Farrell having a solid run here as well. Still one of the biggest movers as he is in the 7th position. Richard Drake dropping all the way back to 8th after that round of pit stops. But I believe that 141 ride has himself 4 fresh tires. So that's going to be big news as this race gets further and further on into the sunset. And you can see the track is starting to get a little bit darker all the way around. So we're going to be racing into the nighttime here at Myrtle Beach. And that's something that is really exciting, because as we can take an onboard look here, we were struggling with the sun glare in turns 3 and 4 earlier on here, but it seems like that sun is finally now set behind the stand. So one less thing for these drivers to worry about. And one other thing these drivers don't have to worry about is the flaggers only car. Ashton didn't make the show, brother. What happened?
Just bad luck. We worked really well in between the heat and the consi. We had the car roll on the outside. We were up in a transfer spot, and something happened behind me. They clipped my back end, and I was in the wall by the end of it. So tough luck. We thought maybe on the last race of the season we could make the show, but we still got one more after this. We'll be in the non-qualifiers race, I think, in a week or so, and we'll try and put on a show there.
And right now these drivers putting on a show up in the top 3, Roma, Woolridge, and Langell. They're starting to stretch it out just a little bit over Brett Suggs back in 4th. Dylan Black holding on to the 5th spot. And Ashton, I guess the big question is, when and where are we going to be able to find flaggersonly.com t-shirts?
They're in the works. I've been talking to our virtual flagman Bubbles, Bubbles Bronson up in the flag stand, and we've got a couple little things on the go. Hopefully by then we'll have something together and we'll be able to release something. I know Tim and I are also working on a little something together for Bubbles also.
Well, if I'm talking to Bubbles in the flag stand and you're talking to Bubbles in the flag stand, who's waving the flag?
Bubbles is a man of many, many, many talents. Along with running flaggersonly.com, he can flag, he can talk to us, and do all of that all at the same time.
And that is what it's all about here in VidaneTV. Crossing the stripe for lap number 92. Roma still holding on to it. Woldridge in second. Langell there in third. Little bit of conveyor belt action going on here at this point. Not necessarily a bad thing, because that's going to give these guys an opportunity to figure out what their cars are going to do with whatever they ended up doing on pit road last time by, whether it was 2 tires or 4 tires. And Ashton, you've kind of practiced these cars here a little bit. What are these cars, after a long green flag run, obviously 4 tires feels better. You always want to get 4. You want to get 8 tires if you can come down on pit stop. You put 4 on and take them off and then put 4 more on. I mean, that's what a racer really wants here. But if you do have to try and gamble and take the 2 tires, what does that do for the handling of these cars?
I didn't get a chance to take 2. Anytime I did come down pit road, we were always putting 4 new stickers on during practice. But they're a handful on sticker tires, and they're even more of a handful after about 30, 40 laps. So any kind of long run that these guys are doing now, it's all about saving. We were talking not too long ago with Beasley, and he was kind of hanging around the back, and he was just kept repeating himself with saving the tires, saving the tires, saving the tires. So if this goes green the rest of the way, I think you're going to see whoever can save the best and whoever has the best rhythm.
And these drivers up towards the front, a lot of them took 2 tires here. We know Richard Drake, one of the first drivers to take 4, and that pit stop happened right at the halfway marker. So that's going to do one of 2 things for these drivers. It's going to let them know that, hey, I beat the heck out of these tires for 75 laps. I'm going to do it again for the second 75. Or, hey, I beat this car up too much. I need to reserve a little bit just in case we don't get another caution flag.
And that's exactly it, right? They'll know exactly what they did and how much they beat the tires up. Now the crew will relay that back to them and say, you know, we could go green the rest of the way. You might need to save for 10 or 15 laps before you unleash the hounds.
Indeed, they do. 52 laps left to go. I can count, I promise you. And you can see those front 3 drivers still pulling away. About a second, 1.4 seconds between first and fourth. Suggs is finally able to get down to the bottom side of the racetrack, and I think that's where his comfort zone is going to be. He's tried that top side twice now from up in the top 3 and has slid back like a rock. But right now, starting to gather it back up, getting some laps, getting some repetitions in. That 33 car might be someone to mess with here in the final 50 laps.
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. That's I wasn't able to say it in the last race, but I'll say it this time. I ran the top side in that last chance qualifier. And let me tell you, that is the line you want late in the race. Late in the race, holding your car down on the exits of these corners is really difficult. The back end wants to slide out, so you're trying to catch it. You don't want to get into the guy on the high side. So when you're doing stuff like that, having a car on the outside really makes it difficult to handle the car. So I'm thinking Brett's kind of toying with the outside to see what it's capable of, but trying not to show his hand too quickly. I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but it's one of those things that, like I said, I was able to talk to the crew after the heat race and said, guys, I think we just need to run the high side. It's 12 laps. I'm just going to have to go for broke. And we got those 2 lucky cautions on the restart. I was able to restart on the outside, and it was working really well, and then got clipped. So I think Brett Suggs knows the outside is capable, and you'll see it come around pretty quickly.
And you can see these front 3 cars able to pull away by just a little bit more as they're kind of driving off into the sunset, as it were. A little bit of lap traffic up in front of those drivers. 33 car able to stretch it out between he and that 5th place car of Chris McKenna, trying to get the timing and scoring sorted out. It looks like it's settled itself out. it wasn't scrolling earlier on because we're right at that 20 to 21 driver marker. So that might have been what the issue was. But it looks like it's all sorted out right now. It doesn't look like it's scrolling, but right now Devin Smith going to be scored as P21. Missed the green flag, so not going to be in the field here in this one. So we think we got that all sorted out. Appreciate you catching that there, Ashton. It's good eye.
Yeah. I mean, the more eyes, the better, right? And that's why we work so well together. Paul, I just quickly shot you over a message there. Didn't want to interrupt you in the middle of the stream, but yeah, everything looks good now on our end. Now we see the battle's kind of starting to heat up, and we're gonna have a yellow. It says first caution because we had to reset there.
Yeah, taking a look at the U-House Racing Designs, looks like the 10, got into the back bumper of Negus, the foot, trouble. Oh, man, calamity back here for the 10 car, making his triumphant return in the TCM series, and, well, that wasn't very clean, unfortunately, for the driver that usually drives the Tide colors, has himself a championship belt from the Vidane Racing Super Speedway Series back in the day. A little bit too hot to trot, get a little bit of a bumpski back there from the back bumper. It looks like everybody's able to grab a gear and get rolling once again. So quick caution here for the time being with less than 50 to go. And Zane Farrell, Josh Langell, a couple of these guys going to come down. They want to get some tires.
Yeah, and I think this is possibly a strategy play. That's a tough one. I'm looking at it and going, if I was in the race right now, I'd be pulling this move too. 2 right side tires. Come back out on the track. If you don't get the one to go at that point, come back down, get the left, stay on the lead lap. You could be in the catbird seat if we go green the rest of the way.
Yeah, we made mention about lap 50 or so. We took a look at lap times, and 50 laps on a set of tires, that's going to knock you back 2-3 tenths of a second. So if you're able to come down, get even 2 tires here with just less than 50 laps to go, getting closer to 40 laps to go, Jake Goodwin is going to come down here in the 24 car as well to get the other sides put on. That might be something to watch. 40 laps, 2 tenths of a second a lap, that's going to be a little bit of ground that you're going to be able to make up for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll bring up what we talked about last night, Paul. We got the caution with under 40 to go, there'll be about just under 40 to go when we go back green. You got a driver that you've had your eye on? I've been watching from down at the down a few rooms down here with the officials, but do you have a driver that you got an eye on that's maybe not in the top 10 or in the top 5 right now?
Well, I was going to say anybody in the top 5, but you took that from me. That is a monster top 5. Chris Roma, Tan Woldridge, Brett Suggs, Chris McKenna, Richard Drake. So if we're going outside the top 5, if we're going to pick a dark horse, as it were, I've got to go with my main man, Zane Farrell. Main man, Zane. Why is that not a T-shirt? We know Zane's got some. Hey, somebody write that down. Main man Zane. That's gonna be a T-shirt. We might even put it in the VidaneTV merchandise store. But Zane has had a good, solid run. He was up in the top 10, close to the top 5 earlier on. He has driven through the field twice at this point in that 14 car, and you just saw it. He came down. He got himself 2 more tires on the other side of that car. So I'm gonna go with the 14 car as the dark horse in this one.
Absolutely, great pick. I mean, if I have to do it, I'm going to go just outside the top 5. And Dylan Black's sitting right there, and he's had a great season. He's been up front. He's run some really solid races, and late caution, he could be the one to watch.
You know what has to happen is Zane has to go up to Oxford and win himself a race, and he could call himself Main Man Zane. How about that?
Well, there you go. I get it now. Just a play of the words.
Play of the words. That's what we're all about here. Play of the words, play of the race cars, play of the green flag racing. And there you see it. Bubbles throwing that green flag, letting them know it's time to go. Roma going to get the whole shot. They're almost 3 wide in behind for second place. Brett Suggs is going to say, he wants that second place. He wants to be able to focus on that lead.
Yeah, we saw him take a lead down last night in this exact same race car. From 2 seconds down to under a second with 8 or so to go. So if he can get himself up into second with this many laps to go, we know he can certainly have something for the leader. Roma's been kind of controlling this race right from the start. Being able to set the pace up front might make a big difference in the late going.
getting it all sorted out. You can see Suggs going to tuck in to that third position for the time being. That 35 car of McKenna, very, very sporty. Going to see if he can get into the third spot, get into a podium finish, and try and talk to us here in the post-race show. Back towards the second half of the top 10, though, they're getting kind of squirrely.
Yeah, there was I'm going to use the word, there was calamity behind them, but they sorted itself out, and they're still kind of in a pack of two wide. A little bit of fender damage on some of the cars, leaning on each other. That's Dylan Black leaning on what looks to be the 23 of Byron. Just you said it earlier, Paul. 8 tires turned better than 4.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers leaning on other cars. There's a lot of drivers that are giving up and giving them a little bit of a shove, too. So, in any sense, you're still utilizing 8 tires. You're still getting 8 tires to turn here, and 8 tires is definitely more than 4. Keith Lord saw an opening right there for a split second, got back on the binders heavy to tuck into the tire tracks, and Brett Byron going to hold on to that spot for right now. But you can start to see that these guys are going, they're fanning out all over the racetrack. Some of the guys are going all the way up towards the wall. Some guys are going all the way down on the apron. And we saw Brianna Weigel get caught up with those turtles down there, with those bumps down on the bottom side of the racetrack. So that's going to be something we're going to have to keep an eye on here towards the end of this one. 31 laps to go as they cross the stripe. They are still chasing this cat in the 83 car. Chris Roma holding on to it over Tan Woldridge.
Yeah, Chris Roma, and here we go with Brett Suggs rolling the top side, so we're going to see if that has something to do with what he was looking at earlier. You see the momentum. Look at the amount of momentum he has coming off of 4 when you run the top side, able to swing down to the bottom, crossover below Woldridge, and we'll see if he can pull it off coming into 4. Onboard camera, great shot. You see the hands working the bottom right by the wall, and it's just, you hear how late he gets to the throttle compared to the 28. And that's the top side that works so much better. So he's almost got to pin it to the top side and let it roll and hope for the best. But great run up here by these 3 drivers. Clean. They're not overly leaning on each other. Look at how close he gets to that wall. That's impressive. I couldn't do that in practice. I was terrified.
You can almost start to see, up into the wall for the 33 car. I was just going to say, you can almost start to see what he's trying to do now. He's going up on that high side and gambling a bit because that opens the door down on the bottom side of the track. But as he gets in there, he's trying to do a late apex and just drive down the banking of this car to try and get up a little bit closer to the potatoes on the back bumper of that thing. Because I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to get hooked up with the Jones Barbecue people and the PEI potatoes, and we're going to have ourselves a little bit of a steak dinner here.
I mean, I didn't bring you up anything to eat, and I think that's what you're telling me is that I forgot something on my way up here. But the concession was already closed. So I completely forgot. Well, I'll get you back next week.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll double down. We'll get a double-double next time. There you see the 33, though, drifting up the track. He's got some breathing room in behind him, so this time he's able to gamble just a little bit more. He doesn't have to necessarily worry about getting slid back because we watched that 33 car drop back twice after he got up into that middle and high groove. It didn't quite work well with that car, but now you can see really trying to make it work. He's got some fresh tires on that 33 car, and he's doing everything he can to try and get around Woldridge to see if he's got anything for Chris Roma.
Yeah, and I was talking to Tim over in the officials room there, and I believe officially, as we say, with Brett Suggs starting this race, he is the champion for the WingNut Productions late model series this year. But again, I believe he does have to take the check.
Officially, unofficially, unofficially, with 24 laps to go here in this one, and holding the pretty wheel here at this point. You can see he kind of tucked back into the tire tracks of Woldridge. They're pulling away up in that top 3, but back in 4th place, waiting for someone to make any kind of mistake. Richard Drake, very cool, calm, and collected, holding on to that 4th spot. Very impressive run for the 35 of Chris McKenna right behind there. Josh Langelo's been up in the top 5 all evening long, right on the outside looking out right now in P6, and behind him Dylan Black in the 08 car having a solid run. Brady Cox in the 76 qualified. How was plus 24 in a 21 car field? So our timing and scoring is off by a little bit. We did have to do that quick little reset, so that might be why. But in any sense, Brady Cox having a solid run in that 76 car. You see Brett Byron in the 23 trying to take a peek down low. There's a war-torn number 60 car. That's going to be Keith Lord. Jake Goodwich back here in the 24 car. We saw him involved in an earlier incident. And my dark horse pick, my main man Zane in that 14 car, not really doing anything with those 4 fresh tires back in the 13th. Check that, 12th position. So maybe he's just saving them a little bit more.
Yeah, and like I said earlier on, that top side was rolling, but we've seen Brett Suggs go up there a couple times, and it's not rolling in 3 and 4 as well as it was in 1 and 2. So that may have caused your main man Zane a little bit of issues. Passing might be a little bit more difficult this late in the race, even with the fresh tires. So just a strategy move that didn't pan out the way he was hoping for. But with our we've got a yellow on the track ball, and I didn't see what happened, but the 23 seems to be getting it straight. So possibly something with Byron. He was in a tight battle there at one point. So yeah, he was around in 3 and 4. So Paul, I'll let you take this one because I didn't really catch what happened.
Yeah, it happened in a blink of an eye here, and you take the focus in on that 23 car, gets a little bit of a pop there, and from Keith Lord, sends him on around, and we'll probably see Keith Lord take the tap for that one because, well, there was a little bit of room there, I think. We'll back it up one more time. As you can see, tight racing here at Myrtle Beach. Very, very hard to pass. There you can see side-by-side, Brett Byron down on the bottom side. Gets a little wobbly there, so that's you got to back it up all the way. So we see what we did here at VidaneTV. You can see kind of holding the top side, trying to gather it back up, and Keith just gets in there just a little too hot to trot. Gets into the back bumper of the 23, sends him on around. Everybody does a fantastic job in behind them trying to part the seas. Nobody hits anything. Everything A-OK. The 23 car going to come down pit road and join some of the leaders. Tanton Woldridge going to give up his spot. He's going to grab at least right-hand side tires. The 35 car coming down for 2 tires. Nope, 4 tires. They're going to jack up the left-hand side of the car on that one. There you see Keith Lord already down and away. Chris McKenna in that 35 car right in behind. Brett Byron's going to get some tires. 4 tire stop for him. Brady Cox down here. Richard Beasley going to get tires. Scott Negus, Colin Boudreau down on pit road as well. So that's going to jumble things up a bit in the top 10. Chris Roma, Brett Suggs, Richard Drake still up front. Josh Langell, Dylan Black, the top 5. Jake Goodwin in the 24 car, now P6. Zane Farrell now P7. Jason Goss P8. Tanton Woldridge going to come out P9. Chris McKenna P10. Keith Lord, Brady Cox, Brett Byron, Richard Beasley, and Scott Negus going to be how they're going to line up after those pit stops. So that's going to be interesting. We know Zane Farrell's got 4 fresh tires from that last caution, but we also know that everybody from 9th on back has 4 fresh tires here. With 16 laps to go, how big is that going to be here for this closing couple of laps?
Well, I'm going to say that we're probably 1 to go coming to the line here. It looks like we're going to go 2 to go because there's still cars coming off pit road. So they're going to come back to it with about 13 or 14 to go. That's not a lot of time. I know Myrtle Beach is a big racetrack, but that's not a lot of time to make your moves. I know they're only coming up. It looks like they've moved up, so it looks like the top 7 haven't taken tires or didn't come down pit road. Top 8 looks like the top 7 there because Farrell, I believe, didn't come down pit road. But
that's not going to work because we did the reset.
Yeah, we did the reset, so that one's not going to work. But I believe Woldridge was the first one on pit road because he was up there in the top 3. So it's most definitely going to shake things up. Richard Drake is somebody that I've been watching for a few laps now. He was kind of hanging back and saving, and I feel like he's got tires left for these guys at the front. Brett Suggs, we know, is very good at saving tires. He's now on the front row. Paul, we're coming to green for the last 13, 14 laps. This is going to be crazy.
Yeah, and keep an eye on that 33 car. Kind of struggled with the high side all evening long here. Going to restart on the outside. You can see a slow on the start. Spun the tires a bit. Chris Roma going to get the whole shot there. Single file 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, it looks like, as they get in 2 turns 1 and 2. Brett Suggs all over the back bumper of Chris Roma. He knows that if he's going to try and get around Roma for the victory, it's got to be right off this start before he starts to pull away. Doesn't want to get trapped on that high side once again because we saw that 33 car doesn't quite handle up on the high side, and it is just so difficult to pass here on the bottom at Myrtle Beach. 12 laps to go. They're thundering down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4, and they're all chasing Chris Roma.
Yeah, they're chasing Chris Roma, and Brett Suggs is going to try and that top side, up into the wall, keeps her straight. He knows he's got a mirror full of the 141 of Drake, so he knows he's got to close that door up again after getting into the wall. right behind Drake is Langell, and then Dylan Black, one that I said was to watch, and he's sticking his nose below Langell. He's saying, it's time for me to go. I'm trying to get up to the front. I want part of this, part of the cake also.
Wants his cake and wants to eat it too. A little side-by-side action there. 4-6. That's going to be Zane Farrell, Chris McKenna battling it out. Farrell trying to make it work on the high side. There's Tanton Woldridge. He's got those 4 fresh tires, and he is trapped behind this side-by-side battle here for 5th. He's going to try and take a peek down low, thinking about 3 wide. Thinking about it. Not quite there. Gonna hold on to the spot for right now. 9 laps to go. Still chasing Chris Roma, and it looks like Suggs gonna slide on back just a little bit. 0.4 of a second the gap from first on to second. Richard Drake, though, is there. That 141 Laker News machine all over the back bumper of the 33 of Suggs.
Yeah, and right behind them again, Langell, Black, McKenna, and Woolridge. Now, McKenna also took tires on that, Paul, so that could be a situation where those two, with only 8 to go, we saw the gap closed last night. I mean, can they do something similar at a very different racetrack?
Little conveyor belt action side by side, back outside the top 10, but everybody up front sorting it all out, single file, trying to plan out and trying to make their final moves here all at the same time. Coming to the stripe for 6 laps to go for Chris Roma. The gap about the same, 3.5 tenths, almost 4 tenths of a second for Chris Roma over Brett Suggs. You can see Suggs, he can very easily, I think at this point, hold on to that second spot if he just stays down on the bottom side of the racetrack. But I feel like he feels like if he's got enough air on the high side of the racetrack on the nose of that car, he's going to be able to kind of drive down and do that late apex as he's been doing all race long, but he needs the room behind him, does not have it. Last time by, got the high five from Bubbles in the flag stand. 5 laps to go, coming to 4 laps to go here at Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, there's no room for him to make any mistakes right now. Roma has done a great job at controlling this race, controlling the pace. Then he just opened it up, it seemed, in his last 10 laps and said it's go time. And no, Drake sideways in the center of the corner. Langell had him jacked right up. Great job by Drake to protect the bottom after that situation down the backstretch. He knew he had to get back down there and hopefully hold that spot. Langell's going to cross him over, get down to the inside. That is going to be a pass for 4th late in the race. Drake going to try and cross him over. He touched the turtles.
Touched the turtles down on the bottom side. Got him a little bit wonky. Tried to shoot back down on the bottom side. Not quite enough room there. Popsicle sticks. 2 laps to go here at Myrtle Beach for Chris Roma.
Those guys are still doing battle behind them in 3rd and 4th, trying to make things work. For the 3rd position. I thought it was for the 4th position, so that's my bad. That was for the 3rd position. Somebody wants that podium, and it's going to be those 2 guys. Both these guys struggled a little bit this season in the WingNut Productions Late Model Series. Richard Drake really struggled in it with 1 to go. Chris Roma up front, Suggs, Langell, and Drake working really hard to try and get back to the podium, but it does not overshadow a great run by Roma.
And there he is, it out of turn 4 for the final time. Checkered flag flies for the 83 car of Chris Roma. Going to get himself a dub here in the WingNut Production Late Model Stock Series. Brett Suggs going to finish in 2nd. Josh Langell going to finish in 3rd. We'll talk to those guys in the post-race show here. Richard Drake going to slide back to 4th. Chris McKinnon going to come home in 5th. Brady Cox 6th. Tanton Woldridge back in 7th. Dylan Black 8th. Zane Farrell 9th, and Brett Byron going to round out the top 10. And once again, not even behind the wheel here in the production trailer, and I am sweaty. These guys putting on a heck of a show, and Brett Suggs going to burn them down for 2nd place.
I mean, it's a 2nd place in this race, Paul, but as I said before, that there unofficially will give Brett Suggs the WingNut Productions Late Model Series or Late Model Stocks championship. So congratulations to him. A little side note, I know it's only a 2nd place in this race, but a very great season ran by Brett Suggs, very consistent season.
Indeed, and speaking of consistency, got to talk to the guy down here in Victory Lane. He's not even going to do a burnout with this car. It's just too damn good. That 83 car of Chris Roma leading almost all the laps here, leading the most important one, the one at the end of the race, coming home with that trophy, with that checkered flag. Chris, talk to us, man. Great run here tonight at Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. It's been a long season. I've had some run-ins, never finished many races, got torn up pretty every week, so I was just happy to be running up front and having fun with the boys, and it worked out.
Indeed, it has, and man, we saw a great run. What was going through your mind as you saw a lot of different contenders in the top 5, top 10 throughout the evening? Were you focused on who was behind you, or were you just trying to keep that clean air on the nose?
I was trying to keep looking forward, but when you got Tanton and Suggs behind you got to be on your game. So before we took tires the first time, Tanton was getting a little quicker than me. I'd burnt it up a little bit. I took a chance on a 2-tire stop. I thought it was going to burn me, but it seemed to turn out pretty good. The car was rotating well that whole last run, and it panned out.
Yeah, she worked out okay, coming home with the check in the old W column here at Myrtle Beach. Got to give you the opportunity to thank anybody that's watching at home. Who gets you to and from the virtual racetrack?
Oh, it's just same guys, all the RBR crew, Talco, and everyone who helped sponsor this and put it on. Tim Terry, you guys, everybody that comes out and runs clean. Appreciate y'all.
Absolutely, making it look easy here in the 83 car, coming home with the dub. Chris Roma, great run here tonight.
Thanks, boys.
And we're going to send it a little bit further on down pit road. Ashton, which way did you go? Did you catch up with second place Brett Suggs, or did you catch up with third place Josh Langell?
I'm here with Josh Langell. A great run by Josh. Great last 2-lap pass there on the inside of Richard Drake. Were you saving? Did you have anything more for the guys in front of you?
I think I had the same pace as them. I took a chance and took another set of rights and just kind of didn't work out. I burnt them up on the top coming up through the field, and I had a little bit for them, but it's hard to pass. So Chris was quick, and so was Brett, so it was hard to beat them.
Absolutely. At a track that's a little different than most here, the setup's really loose coming out of the corners early, and then it kind of grabs you and then gives you a loose race car towards the end. What was the key to getting a podium today?
I took 2 tires, and that helped the handling on the car. Just keep a steady line, stay smooth, and take care of it for the most part. And here we are, I guess.
Absolutely. And who helps you get to the racetrack in the virtual world and in the real world?
I'd like to thank Langell Racing, Hot Carl Chassis, Brandon, Nick, Nate, all the boys.
Awesome. Congratulations on the third place finish, sorry. And Paul, I think you're further down there with our unofficial champion and second place finisher here today, Brett Suggs.
That's right. The champ is indeed unofficially right here. And since you didn't bring me my mid-race snack, I'm going to hook up with the 33 guys. We're going to go to Jones Barbecue and Foot Massage after this one. But, Brett, solid run here tonight. That 33 car seemed to be hooked up on the bottom side of the racetrack. We saw you try and make some things happen up on the high side, but didn't quite seem to work out. Well, what else did you need?
Yeah, Chris was just super good. I mean, he's really good at these tracks that are pretty abrasive on the tire, and, he worked it to a T. So big kudos to him for getting it done. Like you said, I tried the top a little bit, didn't quite work like Hickory, and I knew it wasn't going to be quite the same, but I figured there was going to be something up there, and there was a little bit, just not really enough to stay out there. I think when I was trying to get around Tanton, I peeked a nose out there a few times, but just was washing up a little bit too bad on the marbles and wasn't able to hang on to it. And I was really surprised to see Tanton come down pit road because I definitely didn't think that was going to pan out with only 12 laps to go, and I didn't think he was going to give me a spot just like that. So kind of interesting the way it played out, but we'll take a P2 and most importantly take a championship as well.
And there you can see a good shot of the 33 car burning them down on the front straightaway in a little slow motion. That's what we like to see here at VidaneTV. Got to give you an opportunity here, Brett, to thank anybody that's out there watching. Who gets you to and from the virtual and the real racing track?
Yeah, huge shout out to everybody tuning in on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/BrettSuggs33. Haven't really done it a whole lot, as I mentioned last night, but starting to do it a little bit more as we're running some of these races here, and just having a good time with folks in chat, as well as everybody that helps our IRL racing program at THM Motorsports, Lake Norman Power Cleaning, LMI, North Creek Construction, North Creek Ponds, Racer Tees, the boys at Jones Barbecue and Foot Massage, JA Manufacturing, a lot of people that support our iRacing program as well, McConey Setup Shop, Lee Norton, Shane Williamson, Landon Rapp, Dustin Marmarquette, just all the boys that put in and help make me better, and couldn't do it without them. And of course, you guys for the broadcast, WingNut Productions, being a huge supporter of this late model stock, Tim's Corner Motorsports League. So appreciate what you guys doing for these broadcasts and putting some iRacing fun on, and hope to do it again soon.
Absolutely. Coming home with a solid second place finish just enough to unofficially take that championship home. Solid run here tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And it looks like it's a short night over in the official trailer. Tim and company already joining us in here in the booth. Tim, that was a lot of fun.
It was. I would like to run some more laps with these boys because they put on a good show. But congratulations to Chris. Chris and Tanton put on one hell of a show early in this race. I think that was probably one of our best races that we've had all season when it comes to continuity and laps in this deal. You mentioned Brett Suggs unofficially the champion. He's got. We're trying to calculate second and third because obviously we do have one drop in the late model stocks after the issue that we had back at New Smyrna with spots in the session. Unofficially, it's Brett Suggs, Carson Nagy, and I believe Tanton Woolridge top 3 in points when you factor in that drop. So we'll crunch numbers for sure and get back to everybody. Brett Suggs actually takes a 52-point lead in the overall too. So Brett's got a stranglehold on the overall as well. Next week, we have the Legends Race 75 laps at the Bull Ring at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And then next Thursday is our season finale with the TCM Selects and the TCM All-Star Showcase for the Toco Electric Super Late Models. Ashton, thank you for coming on board with this late model stock deal. Been a fun little season. Got to factor in the other couple of provisionals that we had from tonight. But there's a lot of close battles. Everybody, I think, had a lot of fun, and we'll come back and do it all again in 1 week time when we do Legends at the Bull Ring.
And that's going to be a whole lot of fun before we get there. A couple more races left this week, though. Tomorrow night, the Turn 4 Podcast Winter iRacing Series coming back after last week's off week. Thursday night, NEP returns for Neps Night in America. And then the big 24-hour Daytona race. We might get behind the wheel at some point. We were thinking about that. We might do some broadcasting. We're not sure what we're doing here for the 24-hour just yet in the VidaneTV world, but we will definitely get that all sorted out, and we will have that up on the social media outlets for sure. Thanks so much for tuning in here tonight. We will catch you on the flip side, and when we do... Come on, Ashton. I set you up perfect for that one. Where are you? When we do...
We'll be doing it live.
Yeah, we'll be doing it live. We'll see you tomorrow night.